What's up, ladies and gentlemen? How you guys doing? It's yours truly, Fitz. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. And I'm finally going to cover the Ferocious Cup. We have a really good Pokemon Go Hub article to go over by one of my fellow writers, and I have some other Pokemon that weren't included in the article initially that I think are going to be viable options as well. And they also counter or just simply kind of negate some of the Pokemon that will be common as well. Now, one thing I will say is there are a ton of Pokemon available for the Ferocious Cup, and there really isn't going to be an ideal team that's going to be best because there's so many viable options. I'm just going to kind of glance over and gloss over a few right off the bat. Raticate, Raichu, Sandslash, Nidoqueen, Nidoking, Persian, Arcanine, Marowak can be thrown in there. Vaporeon has been shown to do really well. Tauros even. Kangaskhan has a huge move pool that's pretty good. Piloswine. Flaffy. Of course, Umbreon. Confusion. Giraffurg has been pretty good. Granbull could make a pretty good Pokemon. Let's see. Suicune be fantastic. Mightyena has some good moves. Exploud is decent. Linoone could actually prove to be good. We saw that in the Worlds over in is that in DC? I think it was. Delcatty, Manectric, plus Minen. Let's see, Shelgon, Zangoose has some good moves. Vaporeon, Luxio, Pachirisu, Lopunny, Skuntank, Gabite. Let's see. I don't think Herdier has any really good moves. Zabrisca, maybe. Heatmore, absolutely. Alolan Raticate, Alolan Raichu, Alolan Sandslash, Alolan Ninetales, Persian, and Marowak. So all those I just said are fairly viable in this cup. And without further ado, let's get into the article that was written by EonX. I will have this linked in the description down below. So we will go over this, kind of glance over it, and you guys can read it fully if you'd like. So, what's allowed, what's not? Land-based Pokemon that walk on 4 legs or have 2 legs and a tail. There are some exceptions. What's not allowed? Monkey, humanoid, and amphibian-based Pokemon are not allowed. There are some exceptions. Type bands, grass, bug, and flying. Special bands, Bastiodon, Zweilous, and any starter Pokemon. So, here's an early overview. Umbreon is going to be fantastic. The fact that it has Snarl, especially Snarl got buffed for PvP, it's going to be insane. And you'd run Foul Play with Last Resort. You have to have a Last Resort Umbreon for this to work optimally. The most efficient Umbreon will have Foul Play and Last Resort. So if you don't have one, don't look at Umbreon. Next up, Skuntank and Alolan Raticate, of course, because Alolan Raticate hits really hard with Bite by itself. And it does have some lower bulk, like mentioned here, but it's a very strong Pokemon because it can be powered up very high. Skuntank is very bulky. And what's nice about Skuntank is it's actually not weak to Fairy. So that's nice. You can really run a lot of moves on Skuntank. Flamethrower. I think it has access to Sludge Bomb, Poison Jab. Skuntank's actually pretty good, and we'll actually go over it, I think. Suicune's insane. It's really, really, really good. It's a defensive-based Pokemon. It has access to Snarl, which has a really, really good quick move, EPT, and has good damage too. The fact that grass types are banned is actually a good point. Bubble Beam now decreases your opponent's attack stat, so Suicune's going to be fantastic. Make sure you look into Suicune and test it. Hopefully you have a one that's underneath 1500. Yeah, with Snarl and Bubble Beam, it's going to be tough to get rid of Suicune. Vaporeon's pretty good because it's very tanky. Water Gun and Aqua Tail, a fantastic combination. Bibarel is interesting because it's a water type, has access to Water Gun. Very good. Let's see. Last Resort Vaporeon. Yeah, so what you do is you run Water Gun on Vaporeon with Aqua Tail and Last Resort, and you're looking at a very powerful Pokemon. Bibarel has actually good moves, really, doesn't it? Water Gun is good. And then play with Hyper Beam. Let's go ahead and look at Bibarel real quick. I do want to go over this Pokemon. Bibarel, let's see. Surf and Hyper Fang. So yeah, you would run Water Gun with Surf and Hyper Fang. Okay, Bibarel checks out. Yep, sure does. Wasn't sure. That's not a Pokemon we'd look into. That's why it's interesting to see on the list. Minun, absolutely. Very good Pokemon. Discharge, really quick. Minun also, I think, has a very good fast move as well. I think it has Spark, right? Is it Spark? Or Charge Beam? Spark, yes. Quick Attack's good too. Quick Attack has a really high EPT. You'd run Discharge and Swift, and that makes Minun really good. It's also been a while since we've seen this Pokemon as well. Next up, Raichu and Pachirisu. Pachirisu, we know, is a beast. It's a very good Pokemon. The thing with Raichu, though, is it has access to Brick Break, which is going to take out a lot of normal types, steel types, and also any dark types like Umbreon. And that's pretty important. Next up is the Fairies. Mainly, Alolan Ninetales is really good with Powder Snow. It has access to Psyshock and quite a lot of other good moves too, if we take a look at it. Alolan Ninetales has always been a really good Great League Pokemon. Yeah, Powder Snow, Ice Beam, Psyshock. That'd be a fantastic moveset. But the thing is Ice Beam is only going to cover ground or dragon types. Grass and flying aren't included in this cup, so that's what's interesting about... Yeah. Fighting and poison. Poison would be nice, but that's not good. So it wouldn't be good to go up against a Skuntank, which is probably why they say use Charm, because of Dark, Dragon, Fighting. So Alolan Ninetales actually isn't as good of a Pokemon as you might seem. Gramble, another really good Pokemon, has access to Snarl, has a very good attack stat, and it's pretty tanky too. Delete Dark types and chunk anything that doesn't resist Charm. Absolutely. Let's see. Wild Wilderness. Donphan, I'm not sure how I feel about it. It has Counter, which will definitely be good for a quick move against Dark types. Sandslash all around has access to Mudshot, and of course Mudshot's going to gain very high APT on any of its charge moves, so that's why these are definitely both considered in the article. Piloswine, Alolan Sandslash, both fantastic Pokemon. Powder Snow, a very good quick move for EPT. Alolan Sandslash, I do believe, got some new moves. Let's go ahead and check that out real quick. I think it did. Powder Snow, fantastic. Ice Punch, yeah, they gave it Ice Punch. So you can go run Ice Punch and Bulldoze. That'd be pretty nice. You could even run Gyro Ball too, just depends on you. Nidoqueen and Nidoking are kind of niche. If you have a Legacy Nidoking with Fury Cutter, this is where it's going to really shine. But these are decent Pokemon to use. You'd have to test them out. I don't highly recommend them. This is just an early look because this is an early article. Shelgon's fantastic. Absolutely. If we take a look at Shelgon, its moves are fantastic. I mean, it has access to Dragon Breath and Ember. You can run either or, but Ember probably wouldn't be too smart considering there's not really any grass Pokemon. Dragon Breath would be fantastic with Flamethrower and Twister. So that'd be really good. Shelgon's a pretty good Pokemon. So let's go over the Pokemon that aren't included. Arcanine. Arcanine's weak to ground, rock, and water, so you do want to be careful. But Arcanine's moves are insane. Thunder Fang. That boosted Snarl. Fire Fang. Wild Charge. Crunch. I do have a Flamethrower, but it's for Ultra League. But yeah, Crunch and Wild Charge. You have a pretty good Pokemon. I would say if you ran Thunder Fang on Arcanine, you're going to surprise some people, but Snarl's really good too. So I would test Arcanine. Arcanine would be really fun to use in this cup. We actually already went over Piloswine because it was in the article. Persian. Persian is only weak to fighting, so there's not very many Pokemon that was listed in the Ferocious Cup that even have access to fighting moves. Scratch actually has a really good EPT, or excuse me, really good DPT. It's got really high damage, not energy per turn. But you can give it Power Gem, Play Rough, Foul Play. This kind of depends on you. And if you have a Legacy one with Night Slash, definitely run that. But Scratch does a lot of damage. Play Rough will cover Dark types, even Dragon types. Interesting Pokemon. But the main thing about Persian is if you can do heavy neutral damage, with that scratch, you're dealing pretty good attack stat. So Persian can be a good Pokemon. And next thing is Mightyena. Mightyena kind of falls in the same category, as a high attack stat and has decent stamina. And its moves are pretty good too. Thunder Fang, Ice Fang, Fire Fang, Bite. Need I say more? This Pokemon is extremely versatile. You can run Poison Fang, Crunch, or even play Rough. This is another Pokemon I highly suggest you test, because Thunder Fang is great against the water types. Ice Fang, we kind of already went over it. It just depends on what your opponent has. Fire Fang, maybe not so much. Bite, heavy damage. Heavy damage. But you won't be getting Crunch off as much. You can get some Poison Fangs for some shield baiting. But Thunder Fang seems to be the main go-to move because of the water type Pokemon that you might come across. And it does actually pretty good damage as well. Next up is Gabite. I know a Pokemon that a lot of people might not have access to, but its moves are pretty solid. Mudshot, we know how good that is as a quick move. Flamethrower, Twister. Twister for shield busting, Flamethrower for some good damage. Unfortunately, no grass types, no bug types, so you're probably starting to see a pattern here. This is a very niche meta. Each Pokemon covers specific other Pokemon as counters, but there's not a single Pokemon that covers them all. It is very niche, and it's going to be extremely random, which is going to make this cup extremely fun, especially that very first encounter. However, Heatmore really changes things up. Make sure you get a Heatmore that's under 1500 CP, and I'm going to tell you why. First off, Lick and Fire Spin. Pick whichever one you want. Fire Spin, I do believe, has better EPT, but Lick is no slouch. Power Up Punch will destroy the Dark types. Not only will you get an increase in attack stat of 10%, it's just insane the coverage this has. Normal types as well, which you can run into. There are a lot of good normal types. And then Thunder Punch covers your water weakness. So it's absolutely fantastic. Heatmore was bred for PvP. Test this Pokemon. It's fantastic. And last but not least, Lopunny, for the fact of its moves. Lopunny has access to Low Kick. This is going to be strictly a dark type counter. It could be a normal versus normal type matchup too, like if you put Lopunny against Bibarel. But the issue comes with Fire Punch, and we've already discussed how kind of poor Fire is. So Lopunny, kind of a niche Pokemon. I just wanted to put it in here because it has decent coverage. Honestly, I would probably almost not include it. I was really thinking about the dark types, so if you put this against an Umbreon, not 100% sure if you'd win or not. You could run a couple sims and see what happens. But of course, the best thing you guys can do is look over this guide. Like I said, I'll link it in the description. Look over every Pokemon that I just talked about. Test these Pokemon. Test them out. That's the #1 thing you could do to try and ensure victory once you go into the Ferocious Cup. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What are going to be your top 3 Pokemon that you'll probably bring into battle? Curious to know what you guys think. Smash that like button if you haven't done so already, and subscribe. Be a part of the Fitz City fam. That's the boy Fitzy. I'm signing off. See you guys in the next Pokemon Go video.